Thor Ragnarok is directed by Taika Waititi and stars Chris Hemsworth, Mark Ruffalo, Tessa Thompson, and Tom Hiddleston. After coming across Hela, the goddess of death, Thor is thrusted to the junk planet of Sakaar, where he comes across the old Avenger and his old friend Bruce Banner, aka the Incredible Hulk. Together they must team up with Valkyrie and Loki to take down Hela, the goddess of death, to prevent Ragnarok, which is the end of everything and the destruction of their home planet Asgard. Damn, was this movie fresh. I mean, this was such a breath of fresh air. Coming out of all these Marvel movies, we haven't really had one like this before. And though based on the trailers you may think it's very Guardians inspired, and it definitely draws elements from those movies, it is not exactly the Guardians copy or Guardians, perpetrator that you think it might be based on the trailers. It's actually a lot more than that, and I was so happy to see that because, like I say, I keep bringing this up, it felt really, really fresh. One of the big talking points about this movie was its comedy. When you have a director like Taika Waititi, you are guaranteed to have a ton of comedy in your film, and that is definitely true here with Thor Ragnarok. The comedy here is fantastic. You will be laughing the entire way through. It is very funny, very on the nose, very witty, very quick, and it definitely works with these characters bonding together and also doing jokes with each other, and it just comes off really well, and the characters have so much chemistry. There is a problem with the humour, and that is that we have seen Thor in the MCU before, and he's never been like this before. We have seen him in the first Thor movie, and though he was quite comedic in the first Thor movie, he wasn't trying to be. Whereas in this film, he's constantly doing out jokes to try and be funny, which, yes, the humour's great and it works, as I said previously, but it doesn't work in the grander scheme of the MCU, as Thor has never been like this before, so it seems like it's a bit of a weird transition. However, going back to the good parts of the humour, Taika Waititi was an excellent choice for the director of this film. I was really excited when they announced him just because he is, of course, the director of What We Do in the Shadows and Hunt for the Wilder People. And he is so good here. He embraces all of the fun and silly nature of the Thor comics to make this movie, and it works so well. And also his character, he actually plays a character in this movie. He plays a character called Korg, who's this big rock monster, and I think he may be my favourite character in this movie. He is hilarious, absolutely brilliant. I'd say this is probably Chris Hemsworth's best performance to date in the MCU. He is just having so much fun here, and you can see he really is passionate about this movie because of the new direction they are taking it in. And it's really fresh to kind of see Chris Hemsworth be in a comedic sort of role, as he doesn't get him too often, even though he's clearly very good at it. And he definitely provides this fresh new look and performance to Thor that we've never seen before in the MCU, and it works really well. Even though it doesn't quite work for the character, it definitely works for the actor. Mark Ruffalo also returns as the Incredible Hulk, and he is brilliant in this film. I love the Hulk as a character, and we haven't seen him since Age of Ultron, but the wait was definitely worth it. He is just such a great character here. Both him and Bruce Banner, the way that, he's kind of been the Hulk for a long time on this planet, and the Hulk has kind of gained intelligence, and it provides so many funny moments, and he just works really well, and he fits like a glove into this film. Really well done with Mark Ruffalo. The dynamic between Chris Hemsworth and Mark Ruffalo is one of the best, I think, in the MCU, and it just proves it in this film because they have so many great moments together and they play off of each other so well, and they are clearly good friends, as you can see the chemistry just ooze out of them, and it works together and blends together really, really well. They have so many great moments, like there's one little fight where they're just like, not a physical fight, but a verbal fight where they're just throwing really petty insults at each other, and it's really funny. It's really silly, but it works so well. The Hulk versus Thor fight is easily one of the best action scenes in the MCU. It is so well done, really just big, bombastic fun. It's not trying to be a tight and concise fight like, the ending of Civil War. It's trying to be just this big, over-the-top fight between these two godlike creatures. And it's such a fun fight to see our heroes fight each other, and because Hulk's not quite in the right frame of mind, and it works really well, the fight's really fun, and it has kind of a run-on joke throughout the rest of the film, which is really funny. Valkyrie was another great addition. I was really looking forward to seeing her character. I think Tessa Thompson's a really unique actress. After I seen her briefly in Westworld, I didn't watch all of Westworld, but for the parts I did see, she was good in it. And here she plays a really interesting character who's actually got a mysterious connection to Asgard, and that's really awesome. She's a great character. She comes into the story really well. She's implemented and placed in just the right ways to make it sense within the story, and I really liked her character, and I can't wait to see her in the future. Speaking of seeing Valkyrie in the future, I have a theory that perhaps she will become the female Thor. Now, this isn't a spoiler, there's nothing in the movie that hints towards that, there's nothing in the post-credit scenes, it's just a theory I've come up with because she was such a good, strong female lead in this movie, and also because Kevin Feige's been saying it, and I don't exactly see Natalie Portman coming back anytime soon, so yeah, Tessa Thompson for female Thor all the way for me. Cate Blanchett also did a pretty good job as the villain, Hela, who is of course the god or goddess of death. I thought she was pretty good here, and probably one of the better MCU villains. I don't think she was as good as some of the ones we've had this year, such as, Ego, the Living Planet, or definitely not as good as the Vulture, in my opinion. But she was still a good villain, and she had a great connection to the story, which I won't spoil. Now, that final action scene was amazing. I mean, it's quite long, but it works, and it's such a big, over-the-top action scene with all these characters showing off all their unique skills and fighting styles, going up against these big armies. It was really awesome, and I really like how the design choices were really coming into play here, and it was really awesome. Although I don't think it's the highlight of the film, I definitely think the Hulk versus Thor fight is a bit better than this. It still comes to a great conclusion, and it's a great way to end the film. So in conclusion, I'm going to say that Thor Ragnarok is an incredibly fresh movie that's got plenty of laughs. You will laugh consistently throughout the entire film. It had a great director behind it. It has so many great performances and great moments. Commendable action that is unlike anything you will see in the MCU. Had a great villain, and I think the way it kind of sets up the future of the MCU is very clever and really awesome. And I think definitely this is one of the best movies in the MCU. Well done, Thor Ragnarok. I give Thor Ragnarok an A.